All right, so depending on how the first part ended up taking in terms of length, if you see this part being attached in like the same video and it's just cut to this part, that just means I didn't make another video and the first part was short enough and this part was short enough for it to be one video. I wasn't really keeping track of time, so don't be like confused if there's not two videos or if there are. It kind of just depends on how things end out after I go over things. So yeah, this may or may not be two videos. If it's a second video, hello. If it's still one video, hello. So now we'll just move on to a more high fidelity versions of this, of both the login page and the profile page. So if you want, let's see. Yep, this is definitely the wrong frame for that. However, I'm just going to stick to it. Actually, here, this was also crystal, crystal 2. And then this was the one I made, yeah. Yep, and then we'll call it crystal profile. I'll rename this to login. Okay, so I am going to make a copy of this. Actually, we'll just use this. Whoa, what'd I do? There, I want the whole frame. Rename this so we don't get confused. Pretty. Okay, so colorings and such. To be honest, the icons might take a lot longer if I were to, might make the video a lot longer if I were to do every single one of them. So I'll probably just do one and then add it from there so you guys can just practice on your own. If you get the hang of one, you can probably get the hang of all of these icons. So I don't think there's a need for me to walk through all of them. But if I go through, for example, I do this icon and then you have trouble doing this icon, feel free to reach out afterwards. Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to do is work on this background. So again, I can choose fill and I can choose a linear gradient because this is a gradient, but it goes from one corner to the other. And I want to mimic that. So again, it automatically aligns. There we go. And then so for this color, it's highlighted. I want this purple, so I'm going to use the Doppler tool and click there. And then for this color, I don't want it transparent. I want it solid, but I want it this color. Ooh, pretty. It's not going to be exactly the same because you can see there's a bit more this purpley or like violet pinky-ish color here and kind of like tapers into like a mauve-ish tone here. So it's not gonna be exact, but we'll try our best. Again, it doesn't really have to be perfect. This is just practice. Again, I can pick up like another color and move things, change like the gradient to be more like this pink heavy or more purple heavy, but I think it looks like a bit more pink heavy, so I'm going to move it a bit like that. That looks pretty good, to me at least, so I will end it there. Let's see. There's a black bar at the top and bottom, so I'm going to have to create that like so. Very thin bar. Yay big. Make it black. Same thing at the bottom. I wanted to copy. There we go. There we go. Okay. This Instagram is white. Change it to white. So here we can see it's slightly different to what we had before, but that is okay. Sometimes you go, your design goes through multiple iterations before being a final, so that is completely fine. Things happen, things change. You like one thing over another. So there we go. About the same-ish, yeah. Okay, and you can see that there is a slight transparency with these boxes. So that's what I'm gonna play around with. It's very soft, like that. Okay, that looks about right. I'm gonna get rid of this because I want it to be the exact same one, and I can't. I'm afraid that if I were to move the transparency with the other rectangle, it won't be exact. Yeah, so it's about there. Okay, cool. Let's see, this is a detail to note, but these edges are round. So that is a design trend that is currently happening. I think it's been happening for a few years, where things used to be a hard cut rectangle or hard cut shaped, but people, for aesthetics, wanted things to look a bit softer. So a lot of apps and other design elements that are like square shaped and whatnot, you will find that they have rounded corners. It's just for a look. It's not when you design your own website, you don't have to do that, but we are trying to mimic that and practice what we have learned. So again, here is where you change the corners. Looks like a small one, so let's just test it out. For the 3, okay, that looks fine. We'll do the same here and the same here. Let's see, so now this has changed. This is completely transparent compared to the other 2 boxes, so I will change that fill accordingly. And the stroke has now changed to a more transparent, a lighter transparent color. So let's choose white. Looks a bit brighter, so I'll go like that, and it's also smaller, so we'll go like that. This also seems about the same size. Let's see, this is .304. Thing. 56.12. That's what I was looking for. Same idea here. And this is a more rounded font. You can play around with fonts, but I'm just going to keep it at the font I have now. And this is much smaller. So we'll just play around with that. Okay, that's about right. Fill to white. Or actually, I can, whoops, that's not what I want. I can scroll There, undo. Scroll very close in here. And then, let's see. So I can try to pick this up. Yep, right there. There we go. Let's see. Does that work? Yeah, it's pretty good. Only thing is, this looks slightly bolded, so yep, that looks about right. Right in the middle there. Okay. Well, forget your details. I'm gonna have to create another text box. So I'll make that real quick. Okay. Looks a bit smaller, so okay, yeah, it's about right. It's not quite, but okay. It's a bit more white, so I will change it accordingly. Yeah, about like that. They're lines and an or. So how I want to make this text box first, or white, bit transparent. Okay, like that. That looks about right. Change this to add it. And I will change this. Make it a tad bolder. It looks bolder. Okay, let's play around with the fonts a bit. Actually, we don't need to. Right now, let's size this down first. I'll just scale it. That looks about right. Match it up. There we go. Okay. That might be a bit too small for the font. Let's try bold again. Okay, I like that. We'll go with that. These look a bit more spaced out. That'd be just me. Or actually, I'll leave it. Lines. Okay, I can see if I zoom in that these are two separate lines, so that is what we will do. I'll just create one line and make it the same. 0, change it to 0, change it to white, but a very, very light white. Okay, that looks about right. Right at the middle. Okay, yeah, like that. And then I want to scale, so don't want to move with the orientation. That looks about right. Copy, paste it over. And that is definitely not as aligned as I would like. Okay. It's not perfect, but it's about right. Okay, so another thing that I'm missing is username and password, the word. So create a text box, make it as big. Like that. Leave it at the end. Then change it up. I don't want this to be bold. There we go. That looks about right. Align everything accordingly. Okay, good enough. And then the next main thing is this bit right here. So that looks like a rectangle that I want to change the transparency of. It's about that big. And it looks like there's a stroke on it. Actually, no, it's just a line. The way you can tell the difference is strokes will go all the way around, unless this black part is covering it, but you should also be able to see at the sides too here, unless, again, it is cut off by the frame. But that's kind of a lot of work in terms of sizing everything. So I will probably just pick a line or make a line afterwards. So let's see. Here I want it more white. And let's change the transparency. You can kind of see it. I think like that. Yeah, that looks fine. And it's not entirely the same. It looks like there's like another, or the gradient is a bit wider, but it's fine. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it does, but I don't want to spend too long fixing it. Out. Sign up. Okay, that looks about right in terms of spacing. There we go. I want it white. I want to be a bit transparent. It looks like it's about right. It looks a bit small, so I'll just up it to 16. Looks too big. 15. Just right, I think. Good. And then, oops, sign up. Is it bolded? Let's check a medium bold. Okay, no. There we go. That works. So you've pretty much now finished most of it. Now it's just the icons at the top and the bottom. So let's start at the bottom since these are quite easy to make. So first, start with the rectangle. Boop. And then make sure everything's even. This button constrains the proportion, so when you scale things and that, it won't do, it won't, when you change the dimensions, it will change accordingly. Let's zoom in, and you will see pretty much just the stroke or the outline. You also see, like the boxes before, that these are rounded. Same thing with the triangle. So that is something you want to keep in mind. So let's do the stroke first before the fill, because if you change this fill to be transparent, it might be hard to see in terms of like what, I mean, you can move your mouse around and see what highlights, but it might just make things hard to click on. And if this ends up going under this black rectangle or whatnot, you can also make this black, but I'm just gonna make it transparent because I want to. But feel free to just also make it black. You don't have to. Let's see. 3 looks about right. Okay, I'm going to change it to transparent. And I will round the corners. There we go, that looks pretty good. And you can eye it, but I'm just going to view it a bit. Okay. There we go. That's what I want. Ooh. Now we got that. I'll just place it here for now. Same thing with the circle. I want to size it the same size. There you go. So again, I'm just going to do it the same way I did stroke, 3, transparent. Again, you can also make it black, but I'm not going to. Ooh. Oh, I changed it. It's 2. That would make more sense. It's a bit thick. Okay, there we go. And then triangle. What do I call it on? Okay, so oh, it's about. Is it the same height? I'll make it the same. There we go. Same thing. Stroke. Change this to 2. Change this to transparent. And we want rounded edges. How much should I do this? 2? Okay, so 2. There we go. Now everything's great. So zooming out, the circle seems to be in the middle and these are placed accordingly. So let's move the circle first. There we go. Another thing, if you accidentally click on like this rectangle, like I kept moving it, right? You can also lock it and then it won't move. Yeah, so I'll just keep it like that for now because I am quite clumsy and I might accidentally move things. These honestly, like this is, yeah, that is very small. Yeah, I'm gonna change this. Looks a bit small, so let's change it to 22. No, I didn't constrain the proportions. Yeah, it looks a bit better. Yeah, so let's size this now. Okay, middle align. Right there. Oops. Middle align. Right there. Okay, cool. Again, not perfect, but yeah. Oh, I want to rotate this. Oops, wrong way. There we go. Cool. So those are your icons down there. And then we can work some of these out. So I'll just put the time in first since that's a bit easier. 8, 9. Can't see it because it's all black. So change it to white. Oops, 8. There we go. We want this bigger. 20. There we go. That looks about right. And spacing wise, that's about fine. Okay, and these icons. Let's talk about these icons. These are a bit tricky, but you can definitely make it. I believe in you guys. So, something as simple, like this is quite simple to make, just a bunch of rectangles, but something like putting a check mark. Actually, I guess that's also simple. You can make 2 rectangles of different lengths. But when things get a bit more complicated, you want to use like pen tools and vectors and stuff. For example, like making this curve. If you don't want to draw a triangle to connect it towards, or to connect it to like a rectangle here, you can always draw it out with the pen tool. My advice on icons, since icons, especially for mobile design, are quite simple, is to break them down into specific shapes. So an example, so with this Figma logo I recreated, I noticed that what I could do to break it down, since it kind of looks a bit wonky, like, oh, where do I even start? How do I make pill shape, half circle things, weird circle things? Yeah, how do I do that, right? So one thing to recognize is these simple shapes. In design, everything should be pretty simple. Simple to see, simple to create. And so that's the same thing for this logo. So you can see that it's a circle and a combination of a circle and a rectangle. And that just makes this pill shape thing right here. Same thing here. And then this is just a circle and a square that's connected. Let me scroll in so you can see better. You can grab it better. So there's a square, connects right to a circle, and it creates this odd shape thing right here. So yeah, so that's my piece of advice, is to think simple. So here you can see, think, oh, this might be hard to draw out, but in reality, it's actually a rectangle here and some triangles here too, to create the handles. Square, triangle, square, triangle, square. Might seem like a lot of parts, but it's a good start to create a small logo or a small icon of some sort. It also gives you appreciation for what designers go through, because like you can see, this simple handle has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes in it. I guess you can count 6 if you want to count this rectangle here, to be transparent, but yeah. So let's start with this battery. I'll make 1 on each side, just to show you. So let's blast through these real quick. So let's see, it's kind of grainy, but I'm just gonna assume that it's just all one size. So whomp, like that. I'm gonna create another one, a smaller one like that. It's centered already. And then I'm going to make another one out here, color that white, move that here, position it accordingly. That's about right. Okay, scale it down. move it over and put it in. So it's a bit smaller. So let's go in and resize this bad boy. So it's about, yeah, it's good enough in terms of spacing. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's about right. So detail wise, this is a bit transparent, so I will go in and fix that. It's a bit taller and skinnier, but proportions or like spacing, it seems right, so I will fix all of that now. So again, clumsy me. Block it so I don't do that. Zoom in. Oops. Here's something you guys want to watch out for. So when you were laying things next to each other, notice that when I tried to highlight everything, it also highlighted this text box. That's because I made the text box length go beyond past where it needs to be, essentially. I'm gonna fix that so it doesn't overlap. Actually, oh, it's scaling. Yeah, that's the problem. So V for move, and I want to move that out of the way, like so. All right. That looks about right. I guess I can move this a bit closer then. There we go. A bit closer. Make this a bit smaller and a bit wider. Like that. Okay, this top part is a bit thinner, so I will fix that. Align it accordingly. See. There you go. And that is your battery. It's a bit more transparent. Fine, I'll fix it a little bit. Even the time is formatted or laid out a bit off. I guess I'll fix that too. Let's see what it looks like at 18. Okay, 18 looks better. Yeah. All right. And then I'll make this a bit more transparent. And then copy that for this right there. Okay, they look about the same, pretty much. All right, so I created that on one side. Feel free to keep creating that side, and then I'll make it go a bit faster with an example here. So this suitcase. So I want a rectangle, not that big, but whoops, a little white around the corners. That looks about right. All right, and I want a triangle in the middle. $90, center it, black, a bit more this way, huh? This is a bit more square, I suppose, so let's fix that. With, no, that's not what I wanted. You can play around with it, but I don't think. I will get it much closer. Whoops. And that. I guess I could. Let's see if I can. It's uneven. That's why it looks a bit off. Yep, so it's just all about experimenting until you find what looks good, essentially. Let's see. Where is this rectangle? Right here. Yeah, we'll leave it like that for now. I'll size it again later, I suppose. All right, that looks better. Cool. So now for the handles. Rectangle. Let's make a big one first. For here, I want to see it since I'm creating it outside of the frame. I want to see the black part here. Otherwise, I would have left it transparent, but it's okay. Doesn't really matter. Okay. Something along that sort. And these are both white. Bit. Wider than I'd probably like them to be. Let's see. Yeah, 1.5 seems to be the move. Okay, and it seems like it's about the same. I shouldn't stress too much about it. Okay. I'm going to, it looks like this would end at the same length. So that's what I'm going to do here. There we go. That was my mistake. moving it on top to better see. Let's see, how do I fix this? I can change the coordinate positions, I guess. I think it's because it's at it's too small of a increment that it's what's making it hard. Yeah, you can see here too. That's fine. You just mirror things. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Okay, and then a triangle. Oh, and what I did there was I changed everything, like the asset, to a vector, and I just moved the corresponding corners to match up with the rectangle. It's an easy way to change things. So, like for example, I can grab other points and play around with it. But in this case, I will not do that, and I'll just make another one over here, and vectorize it, and then so change the color there. Ta-da! And we have this icon. Grab it, all of it, and place it about there. So yeah, so there's another icon. Yeah, just for time's sake, I won't do all of it. I do want to talk about this example, very similar example here, but a little bit more detail oriented and a bit technical. So now that you guys have, like, I walked through a lot of how to make things, instead of like building this actual frame, just for time's sake, I will just like talk through it. So here you can see it's all about the details. So one thing you can see is change when you make everything again based on this format. First thing I would do is color everything. So this would be a black circle, blue, black. Change, take out the X's and make it all black. Change this bar to be the same color as the main page, the white, but it looks like there is either a line or a shadow. It's kind of hard to tell. Or you can make it a slightly off-white color too. It doesn't really matter. So you could do either one of those options. Same thing with the icons, very simple to make. Hearts, you're gonna need to use the pen tool, yeah, here, and draw it out and mirror everything. Quite a complex shape to make on Figma. Can learn a lot of other techniques, such as you know, how to use the pen here. I'll just give an example, but I can curve things as such, or if I click out and hold, I can also curve Yeah, and connect it back. Very poorly bean shaped heart thing, but yeah, just so you can get the idea, that's something you can do with the pen. Get rid of that. I would move on to replacing everything with the words. So after I change these to blue, I would add the triangle, I would add the follow, I would add these probably individually, so each number individually, and then each word individually here, and then space them out accordingly. Add name, word, username here. Also, again, like this bar here, I would probably change this to either an off-white or make it the same color, the same white as this page here, and create a shadow. Or instead of a shadow for both of them, you can also create a line. Doesn't really matter, it's up to you. Again, some simple shapes that you could create, same things up here. Something that's a bit more, actually here, I'll just talk about this first. You can replace everything with the words, and then just like normal text, you can change the fill and the font and all that stuff, and play around like I did here. No, that's the image. This is what I want. So here, with any one of these words, again, you can change how big it is, if it's bold or not. You can change the color fill, and here I have it as white and such, so you can play around with that to get like different effects here, but you don't have to make everything as a separate text box. Something that's a bit more technical will be these rings outside. So, Crystal, this looks really complicated. How do I do this? Well, it's the same idea as how you created this gradient here. You're going to have to make another circle that will go under the black circle and make the gradient accordingly. You just have to make sure that where these circles lay, you have to make sure that the black circle will lie on top of the gradient circle, and how you do that is with these details here, you click and drag, so whatever is above, so in this case, username is above this line, so if I were to put them on top of each other, username would lie on top of the line because it's above. But yeah, again, you can click and drag to fix that. You'd have to make sure that you can see there's a white ring too. So how do I create the white ring? You could do 3 circles on top of each other. However, it's a bit inconvenient, so I would make give the black circle here a white stroke, and then put that on top of a gradient circle. Yeah, that's what I would do. Same thing here. If you want an outline, you can create a shadow, or you can make another circle and a white circle and have a very small stroke, a black stroke on it, and then have those lie on top of each other. Slightly different from the profile one here, because you're not, the gradient will outline it for you. As opposed to here, you have a bit of definition on the outside edge. So here's a bit different. So I would play around with it and see what looks best. But what I would probably do is do 2 circles and have a stroke on the white circle that's lying on under the black circle. Again, simple icons, like I mentioned before, should be pretty easy. You can make all these here, the one for Instagram TV. Same thing with after or when you fill out all the words, fill out these words as well. Same things here, pretty simple icons. This bar here, you can either make a rectangle or a line. If you want to make a line like that, a random line, change how thick it is, click here to select the cap, and then now you have a round cap like that. Or make a rectangle, very thin rectangle, black, and then round, put a pretty big number, and then round it off like that, and then just adjust accordingly. So 2 ways to create this shape right here. This notification icon also should be relatively simple to make. Again, just break it down. So you have circle dot. You already know how to make that now. I see a square and a triangle. So I would make all of this outside here, outside the frame, round off the corners here, and then create icons, put that in, space them out accordingly with numbers, and then highlight everything and move it accordingly. So that's what I would do for this. So yeah. Oh, one more thing. Something I do want to clarify though before we end this workshop is this frame that I made, which I called high fidelity wire, part of a wireframe, is not actually a full high fidelity wireframe. So like I mentioned at the beginning, high fidelity wireframes are very close to what your final product is going to look like. And that also includes all the user actions that go along with it, such as clicking and scrolling, flipping things through, you know, stuff like that, where you're actually able to interact with each frame, and you can see where one button goes to another or where it leads to and this and that. So again, this is because I did not do any of that. For the sake of time, I will probably cover that in the future. I did not put that any of that in here. There's nothing you can click necessarily. So it's not a high fidelity wireframe. Oh, but Crystal, like you can, what do you mean? Like you can click on these, well, like, here, I'll zoom in. Like this is meant to be clicked, right? And this, no, that's, what I mean is when you're creating wireframes, you can actually like designate, oh, this is what you click on it, and it takes you to the next frame of where you want it to be navigated towards. This is just a pretty version of, I guess you can call a prettier version of a low fidelity wireframe, but that's not really it either, because low fidelity is all like circles and boxes and such. So it's kind of like in between, closer to high fidelity though, since we did like make this page look more like what the Instagram login page would actually be like. But again, because you can't click on anything or scroll through anything or any of that, it's, I would not call this a full high fidelity wireframe. We just copied over assets to make it look more like the real thing. So that's something I wanted to clarify before we leave. All right, hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope you guys were able to figure things out on your own before coming here, or you found this helpful in finishing the prompt. Feel free to work on any other type of social media account or whatever else you want to, whatever other app or desktop version of whatever program you want to design over. Yeah, and also feel free to experiment. Like if you find you're doing Instagram and you find something that you don't like about it, redesign it and then let me know. I'm interested to see what your guys' thoughts on certain on your favorite products and such are, in terms of what you want to be improved and this and that. So yeah, so that's it from me today, and I will see you guys in the next Figma video. Stay safe out there, guys.